It's the 19th of June today, and 3 o'clock in the afternoon, the sun is just belting down. Look at the shadows cast. Everything is searing heat. I heard at the lunchtime news that London at 12 noon experienced temperatures of 31 degrees, and I'm sure on the nursery it feels more like 33 degrees. Over the next few days, we are promised temperatures of 33 for several days running. So it's been non-stop watering, and life is really tough and difficult. I've had several emails and messages from some of our fans, and they've all been asking us, how do you deal with trees when they get scorched? Now, I'd never hide anything from you guys, and even on our nursery, I've often said that because we have so many trees, and however hard our staff try to do their job, they always come a cropper. Becoming a cropper means that you failed. Look at this, I'm passing a wisteria here. The ends of these leaves are brown like this because they haven't watered that tree enough. If I look at some of the maples, look at that one. The ends of the leaves have got brown because they haven't watered enough, and the water hasn't got to the end of the leaves. Looking at that tree at the back, and because it's at the back row, they have missed the watering, so this poor tree has suffered like that. And so it goes on. Wherever I look, I hate to say, the trees are suffering quite a bit. There's another wisteria. Wisterias are very thirsty trees. In fact, when I used to grow wisterias as an amateur, I always used to stand them in bowls of water during the summer because they dry out so quickly. So some of my other trees are all right. Look at those big maples, they're perfect. But sometimes you do get into problems. So in a situation like that, we are going to show you what we do. So I can already spot about 3 maples. Look at that one, you know. Not all the leaves are burnt, but some of them have burnt. So this is what you get from not being careful with the watering. Turning to these Deishojos, there are about 1,000 here, and there's not a single one which has been burnt. So they've done a good job on that. So don't despair when that happens to you. It happens to all of us. We can't all be perfect. So I'm going to show you, when you get a situation like that, what do we do? Fortunately, with deciduous trees, the simple answer is to cut all the leaves off. So I'm now going to take you into the back greenhouse and show you what I do. So here I am, still very warm and still very hot. Although it's about 5 o'clock now, it is still searing heat. So let's show you what I'm about to do. So this is what happens when you don't water meticulously. The leaves get burnt. So not all the leaves are burnt, but a good few leaves are burnt, and in fact I would say most of the leaves are burnt. So when that situation happens, I would go and remove all the leaves. The chicken plucker trick doesn't really work because you have to cut it off at the petiole. The chicken plucker leaf is to really reduce the leaves on a very dense tree. But because this is not as dense, I don't need to do the chicken plucker trick here. So I'm literally going to go around the tree and take every single leaf off. The easy way to do it is to grab bunches of the leaves, and you see over there, this is called the leaf stalk or the leaf petiole. That is what I'm trimming off. So I've got 4 leaves at one time, and I'm pruning all of them off in one go. If you do one at a time, it's okay, but it takes time. But when you have to run a commercial nursery, you've got to work fast. So I usually do it the quick way by grabbing bunches of leaves and cutting them all off like this. So, and if you remember what I've told you in previous videos, it's no good cutting just the burnt leaves off. You have to cut literally every single leaf off. The reason being that if you leave the ones which are not burnt, all the nourishment, all the water goes to those leaves, and very little water will go to the points that you want new leaves to emerge from. So that's why it's always a good idea to cut every single leaf off. This applies to leaf cutting as well. When you try to defoliate a tree, it doesn't really work so well if you just cut a few of the leaves off. You should cut every single leaf off, and then you will get a new crop of leaves over the entire tree. I know there's a case for doing partial defoliation, but if you want a complete new crop of leaves, cut everything off. It shouldn't take long, because if you work fast like I do, you see I'm grabbing handfuls. See, 4 leaves together, 1 cut. Again, few leaves, 6 leaves together, 1 cut. These, by the way, are Japanese trees. And at this time of the year, if leaves get burnt, it's usually the maples that suffer the most. Maples are what a lot of people simply refer to as Acer, but the true botanical name, the way you should refer to Japanese maple, is Acer palmatum, and this one is a type of Atropurpureum, or the Japanese call it Nomura. So that is the tree completely defoliated, almost like a winter image. And you can also take the opportunity at the same time to take these off, because they're spoiling the design of this tree. I noticed that many of these trees, again, it's partial burn. Sometimes you get the entire tree which is burnt. Now this one, I can show you. This one, again, this one has a interesting story, because these new leaves were about 2 months ago when part of the leaves got burned, and I just removed some of those leaves, but I didn't defoliate everything, and yet I've had success getting just those points to produce new leaves. But why not? I can do the whole tree again, and I will get a complete tree with just the new leaves coming, and it will look very nice. And when you're doing that, you can take the opportunity to structure the pruning. That means create a nice structure when you prune, not just defoliate. Many people are afraid of pruning hard during the growing season, that means in summer. In fact, I prune quite thick branches in the summer, because I know that whatever cuts I make will heal very quickly, and you will get new growth in next to no time. So summer pruning is quite safe to do. Many people will tell you that, oh, heavy pruning should only be done in the dormant season or in the very early spring. I don't subscribe to that theory. I believe that in the middle of summer, if you prune, especially before the end of June or even early July, it will still provide enough time for the tree to produce completely new branches and new leaves. If you get into August and September, heavy pruning at that time of the year may be a bit risky, because you will not have enough time for the tree to produce new leaves. Okay, so in this case I've only done partial pruning to see what happens. Now, this is a tree which has been completely, these are all trees in different stages of being trained. So they're not perfect trees yet, but I'm just training these trees. So again, I will completely defoliate this tree. So if this happens to you, don't think that you've done something silly, because even people like me make mistakes. Remember the very famous saying, which I recall John Knocker quoting. His famous quote is a Japanese quotation apparently, which says, even monkeys fall out of trees, meaning that you can be very, very clever, but you can sometimes get unstuck. So however clever you think you are, you can make mistakes. That happens to all of us. So don't be ashamed of making mistakes. As I've always said, you learn more from making mistakes than successes. If you're not prepared to learn from mistakes, then you will not make much progress. Just accept the mistakes as a valuable lesson. This is all part of nature. That's the trouble when you grow things in containers or pots. This is the price you have to pay. Now, having said that, I did observe, because we've got thousands of trees on the nursery, we have thousands of trees. And from my observation, you notice that it is mainly the broadleaf or deciduous trees that get burnt. It is mainly the atro-type maple, these purple type leaves, that get burnt. This is a Deshojo, one of these young Deshojos that came from Japan. Look at it, look at these beautiful shoots. Not a single leaf has been burnt. Not a single leaf has been burnt. So that is perfect. You talk of deciduous trees. This is just a beech tree that we are in the process of training. It's only in an ordinary flower pot. Look at it. It is absolutely what we call pitch perfect. That means the pitch is precise, pitch perfect. Not a single leaf has burned. So my theory is that only certain varieties of deciduous trees are susceptible to burning. And the maple, Japanese maple, is one of them. But not only that, it's not just any old Japanese maple, it is mainly the Atropurpureans that get burnt. So don't despair. If you get a situation where you have leaf scorch and leaf burn, it is perfectly natural. Just cut everything off and start from scratch. You will enjoy seeing the new flush of leaves that come from leaf cutting. So there you go.